This is the Louie Tee Network.
Who else could it be but me, your me, Louie T? Welcome to Lockdown Coverage, Week 5 edition. Houston Texans on the road taking on the undefeated Minnesota Vikings in a game that ultimately would not be a contest. Vikings continuing to dominate their competition this season and did it in thorough and very overwhelming fashion in this football game. Texans continue to struggle against the upper echelon competition in this league as they fall 31-13 in this game. We'll get to the breakdown a little bit later on in the program. First and foremost, however, if you are brand new to the Louie Tee Network, this is your first time viewing this channel, or you viewed before but haven't hit the subscription button, what are you waiting on? Subscribe to the Louie Tee Network for more great content in 2016 and beyond. I'm also on Twitter. @InTheLabRoom is the Twitter handle, as you see up above. All of my social media platforms will be scrolling across the screen as I'm breaking this game down. Be sure to like my Facebook page. In the Lab Room is the Facebook page. Go ahead, thumbs up. Twitter, again, @InTheLabRoom is the Twitter handle. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter for more updates on shows and different things that I will be talking about while I'm on Twitter. And first and foremost, and the most important fact that you should take away from this is subscribe to the Louie Tee Network. That being said, let's talk Texans and Vikings. And you know, I handle ass whoopings a little differently than I do competitive football games. This game was really never in doubt. The Vikings dominated this football game. They were up 24-7 at the half. They never stood a chance, did the Texans in this ball game. And the Vikings took it to them early and often. And when there are blowouts and ass whoopings commencing, I don't dislike banana in the tailpipe, the breakdown. I simply just tell you what I saw from afar. And what did I see in this game? How did I view this game? What did I see in this game? What I saw from afar in this game was a Texans team that I thought wasted some opportunities, especially one in particular early in this game, and we'll start with the Texans in this game. You get a sack of Sam Bradford down literally at the goal line, and they just were able to stay out of the end zone with the Vikings, and so no safety, but Jeff Locke, their punter, is kicking with his heels literally on the end line or right in front of it. And you're going to get some great field position. You actually get a solid return by Tyler Ervin on the punt return. And so you got great field position. And what do you do with that? Absolutely nothing. Have to settle for a 50-plus field goal that is missed by your field goal kicker. Just a wasted opportunity against a Vikings team that is extremely stingy, and the opportunities to score are few and far between. You can't waste those types of opportunities in that type of field position. Worst case scenario, you need to get a little bit closer for Nick Novak. I mean, you can't have him kicking from 51. You expect your kicker to make that, especially in a controlled environment like the U.S. Bank Stadium, but it doesn't matter. You got to find a way to get closer. Really, you want to get in the end zone with that type of field position, but nonetheless, wasted opportunity there. Let's handle the elephant in the room. Everybody's killing Brock Osweiler, and I get it. I understand. You know, I'm not opposed to listening to you guys destroy Brock Osweiler, and everyone's entitled to their opinion. But bottom line is, he has to play better. Okay, whether I can sit here and defend him till the cows come home, but he's got to play better. There's no excuse for some of the mistakes that are being made by him, and he needs to be better. But that being said, I put a lot of the onus on this coaching staff. I don't think they're doing a good enough job of putting him or the playmakers on his team in the best positions to succeed. I just feel like a lot of the stuff that they're doing, it's almost like they don't tailor their game plan to the team they're playing that week. They just say, hey, we're the Texans and we're going to run our stuff. And I don't know if this is George Godsey or if this is Bill O'Brien. I don't know who's in control of the offensive play calling and who's setting up the game plan throughout the week. And I'm pretty sure everybody's got their hand in the game plan. But I'm telling you right now, this was a piss poor game plan. The blueprint for beating the Vikings as the Texans, to me, was quick passes. Get the football out of the hands of your quarterback. And I don't think they're setting Brock up to succeed. 42 passing attempts in this game, and a bunch of them. What's up with all these deep-ass drops? I mean, the first snap of the game is play-action fake, and this man's taking a 7-step drop. Are you kidding me? This is a Vikings defense that is aggressive, that can get after the quarterback. You need to be trying to get the football out of Brock Osweiler's hands, not having him take 5- and 7-step drops in the pocket as if he's not going to take shots and not going to be under duress. These long developing routes, who's winning these routes against the Vikings right now? They didn't tailor their game plan to be successful, to be able to beat a Vikings football team that we know is ultra aggressive and isn't going to give you anything deep. Nothing cheap, nothing deep versus this Vikings defense. You have to be able to matriculate the ball down the field. And you got playmakers out there. You got Will Fuller the fifth. You got Nuke. You got Braxton Miller back in this game. I didn't see any quick passing game. Everything is Nuke running 17 and 13, back to 11. You can't win like that. You got to be able to get the football into the playmakers' hands and allow them to get yards after the catch, get Brock Osweiler into a rhythm, and then loosen up that Vikings defense. And then if you want to take your shots down the field, then you do it. You can't come out the gate swinging like that and putting him in a compromising position. I just didn't think this game plan and the play calling was conducive to winning in an environment where you knew your quarterback was going to be under duress, where it was going to be tough, where he was going to have to make some tough throws. I didn't think they made it any easier on him with the game plan nor the play calling. And I think that starts with the coaching staff. Brock Osweiler needs to play better, but they also need to put a better plan in place. I don't remember seeing one wide receiver screen to Will Fuller. He scored a touchdown on a wide receiver screen in week 1 versus the Chicago Bears. I don't recall seeing another one since. And maybe they've called 1 or 2 since then. He's such a dynamic playmaker. Why not get the football in his hands quickly? I don't understand. Nuke isn't touching the football until the third quarter in these games. What's going on here? A hitch, a simple, hey, back foot hits the ground, I'm getting the football out to Nuke. A slant, anything quick to these playmakers. These routes are too long developing, and it's giving teams a chance to tee off on Brock Osweiler. He's a young quarterback, and the most important thing to do for a young quarterback is give him confidence. The way you build confidence is by getting completions. The way you get completions is by getting the football out of the quarterback's hand. They're not doing that in Houston right now, and their offense is suffering against the better defenses in the league because of it. Same thing against New England. Long developing routes, not getting the football out of the hands of Brock Osweiler quick enough. He's taking shots. He's making poor decisions because he's under duress. He's a young quarterback. Young quarterbacks make mistakes when they are under duress. They're not doing a good enough job of putting him at ease by giving him some shorter passes. And they went from one extreme to the other in this game. They went from running the football way too much with Lamar Miller to not running the football nearly enough in this ball game. There needs to be a happy medium. Right now, the play calling sucks in Houston, if you ask me. And I don't know if it's more George Godsey or if it's more Bill O'Brien, but I'll tell you this much. They are struggling right now with play calling in Houston on the offensive side of the football. Will Fuller with another drop, just to throw this in there before we move on to the dominant team in this game, the Minnesota Vikings. Look, you're going to get that. I talked about this already. I hate to beat a dead horse, but that's what you're going to get. Deep ball drop that could have been a big play. I don't think it impacts the outcome of this game at all, but you would have loved to have seen him catch that just for the psyche of not only Will Fuller, but the guy throwing the football, Brock Osweiler, to see a completion down the field maybe gives them a little bit more confidence. But nonetheless, Texans, they were throttled from start to finish in this football game. And I don't love the offensive play calling right now. I think that needs to change. They need to find ways to get the football into the playmakers' hands earlier, sooner, in the game, in the flow of the game, in the rhythm of the game, and in down and distance. Don't wait till it's third and they had a 4th and 16 and they want to throw a hitch to Will Fuller. No, now you want to throw a hitch to Will Fuller on 4th and 16. Right. Oh, okay. That's the perfect time to throw a hitch. A 0-yard pass on 4th and 16 and ask him to run for a first down. Give me a break. Vikings in this game. Thought they did a really good job of using the receivers that were available in this game. No Stephon Diggs in this game. No problem. And Adam Thielen. They were wheeling and dealing to Adam Thielen in this football game. 7 grabs, a $127 and a touch. I thought he was tremendous in this game. Also, Jarius Wright's sighting in this game. Wow. I haven't seen him in quite some time, seems like. And good to see him catching the football, doing some things in this game. Also, Cordero Patterson finally being a part of this offense. It took long enough. I'm a huge Cordero Patterson fan. And I just wanted to see this guy get more touches, get the football, be more involved in the offense. And finally, I don't know what was going on in the past, if he was really in head coach Mike Zimmer's doghouse or not. I really don't. I don't know. I don't care. At this point, find ways to get this man. He's so dynamic to football. And now he's becoming a bigger part of this offense at the receiver position, which makes this offense that much harder to stop and that much more dynamic. Had a beautiful catch in the end zone where he actually had to go fight the cornerback for the ball. Great coverage on the play. And he just wrestled the football away from James and got the touchdown. Cordero Patterson reinventing himself in a contract year in Minnesota. If I'm not mistaken, this is a contract season for him. And he's performing the best that he ever has in this league. This guy had 2 catches, 2 whole catches to his name last season. And he's way surpassed that this season in just 5 games, and he's playing outstanding football right now. Harrison Smith dropped a pick 6. Look, there weren't many things that the Vikings did wrong in this game, but got to make that play if you're Harrison Smith. Pick that off, take Brock Osweiler's offering to the crib, make the house call. Marcus Sherrills in this defense. My goodness. Look, this team is already tough enough to beat just by having to go against that vaunted defense as it is. You can't allow special teams to continue to contribute. If you're playing the Vikings, you have to stop Marcus Sherrills from returning a punt for a touchdown on you. The Panthers couldn't do it in that game, and they, being the Texans, couldn't do it in this game. Marcus Sherrills, and he almost bust like 2 or 3 of them in this game. He had 2 really good returns, one going for a touchdown, and then he had another return in this game that was a really solid return. So Marcus Sherrills having a huge impact on this Vikings football team with his contributions on special teams. And this is such a good football team that if they get anything from special teams, they're going to be tough to beat because they don't need much. I don't know if any team this season has scored more than 17 on this football team. Has anybody even scored 17? I'm trying to think. Of all the wins they've had this year, I think Carolina was 10. I think Tennessee was 10. Green Bay was 14. This game was 13. And the Giants, I think they were 13 or 16, something around there. Either way, I don't think anyone scored over 17 points on this defense this season. They don't need much. So if you allow special teams to get a huge return for a touchdown or a big return that sets them up in great field position, you're at a stark disadvantage going into the game because this Vikings team just doesn't give it up. You can't afford to give it up on specials, and you can't turn the football over. And they did both of those things in this game, did the Texans. And this Vikings team is just extraordinary defensively. The things that they're doing right now, just uncanny defensively. And then to get the contributions from Marcus Sherrills and the special teams department, unreal for this Vikings team. They do have one deficiency on this football team right now, though. offensive line. They're still struggling. And Sam Bradford took some big shots in this game. And if that continues, eventually something's going to go wrong because Sam Bradford is not a guy you want to continuously take shots. He will get injured. And every time he takes a huge hit, I'm looking back there to make sure he's getting up. And I have a nice sigh of relief because I don't want him to get hurt. I like what the Vikings have going on right now. They got to protect better. They're struggling in that department. And like I said, he took some hellacious shots in this game, but was able to get up. He continues to not turn the football over. Another gutty performance, staring in the face of some pressure, delivering some footballs, almost 300 yards passing. Yet again, no turnovers. That's the big reason why they're 5-0 right now is, like I said before, they don't beat themselves. You have to beat the Vikings. They're not going to help you. They're not going to commit a bunch of penalties. They're not going to have a bunch of turnovers. They're not going to self-destruct. If you want to beat the Minnesota Vikings, you're going to have to play your best game, and you're going to have to beat them. They're not going to help you in that regard. So another strong performance by the Vikings as they get it done 31-13. They continue to destroy the competition. They do something for the first time this season that they hadn't done all year, and that's score over 30. And if this team can start getting contributions from the offense like they did in this game where they actually get into the end zone, wow, look out. You got special teams chipping in. The offense starts to get rolling. This could be a really tough outfit moving forward. And if they keep playing like this, we'll start getting up to the teens and start talking about, is anybody going to be able to beat the Vikings this season? We'll see. They got some tough ones coming up down the road, but they go into their bye week at 5-0, the only undefeated team remaining in the National Football League. Vikings playing some outstanding football, and they get to lick their wounds and heal up on this bye week. They're a dangerous football team, folks, and they're not going away anytime soon. Texans dropped to 3-2 on the season. Huge game on Sunday night coming up versus the Indianapolis Colts. I expect them to get back on track in that football game. They're the cream of the crop, the class of the AFC South. They need to act like it next week on Sunday Night Football. Another porous showing against a dominant defense and a good football team in this league. They were destroyed by the Patriots. They were destroyed by the Vikings. When they come up against upper echelon talent, they fold in those spots right now. They have to get better, and I expect them as the season progresses for them to get better offensively. I need them to be better as play callers. I need them to be better in terms of putting a game plan together. Right now, I think they're failing this Texans offense in that department. Defense wasn't great in this game, but Jonathan Joseph went down with a concussion. You're already down J.J. Watt, so you already know you're behind the eight ball defensively. They have to have other guys other than Whitney Merciless step up. He had a couple of pressures, a couple of sacks, I believe, in this game as well. So other guys got to step up to the forefront. John Simon had a chance at a pick. Got to have it. Got to have it. At this point now, guys have to step up and be extraordinary and make some plays. Simon had a chance to do that, wasn't able to do it in this game. 3-2 after the loss for the Texans. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off. Big one at home on Sunday night versus the Indianapolis Colts. That's going to do it for this edition of Lockdown Coverage. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the lab room. Come back and join me as I continue to break down anything and everything in the National Football League. Remember, we're changing the game one live feed at a time. I got plenty more games to break down in week number 5, including Dolphins hosting the Titans coming at you next. I'll see you in a bit. Have a good one.